Hey y'all, I'm Hubert, everybody's favorite redneck from Nitro Circus. And here we are at the Pastrana Land Shop. Today we're going to work on a Polaris RZR 1000 XP. So here we are, we got a motor mount kit from the company Sandcraft, RZR. They're out of Arizona. These are billet motor mounts and a billet crossbar mount. It comes with the washers. It uses stock hardware. So we're going to replace the motor mounts on this RZR XP. And main reasoning is the stock motor mounts, the rubber inside of them is kind of soft, so you get a lot of motor flex. These are urethane bushings and billet mounts. And actually a very common problem within the RZRs is within that flexing, after time it will crack the mount. Most people don't even realize it, and hopefully one's not cracked, but if it is, we'll show you. Alright, so just a quick look over. We have the RZR up on the lift. The lift only helps make things eye level. You don't have to have a lift. You can leave it on the ground. You don't even have to jack the thing up. It's a fairly simple little project. It shouldn't take too long. It only takes average or regular hand tools. But kind of look over it first. First you got your motor mount right here. It just has two bolts and then a bolt, and then you have your motor tube that goes all the way across to the other motor mount, and it's attached to the motor. No big deal. We'll get to that. Then you have your rear motor mount here. It's very simple design, but first thing we have to do is we have to take the muffler out of the way, because with the muffler in the way we can't get to the motor mount bolts. So we'll start on that. So first off, on the back end you'll have to take the guard out. I use the impact gun mostly for taking things out. It's a couple of Torx bits and a couple of 10mm. We've already taken them off that side. On this side over here we just take our lasso bolt out, and this is our upper bracket, and then you just kind of slide it out to the side. It's like I say, it's not really rocket science. It's only a guard. You just pitch that off to the side. And then we got our muffler. Our muffler is basically just two bolts. This sensor wire, you don't want to forget that, and two springs. So you pull all those and everything comes off. So now we got the bolts out. You just unplug your sensor, which is an O2 sensor. Get your spring puller. Most people don't have these. A lot of people use pliers, but a spring puller is much handy because it won't slip. Pull your springs back. There's only two. You just slide your muffler back. Set it off to the side. So now these are the bolts for the rear motor mount. You'll undo these and this bracket inside here. And just pull it out. Alright, so once you get all your bolts loose, you just take the plate out, set it off to the side. You're going to reuse that and slide your motor mount out. So luckily that one's not cracked, but again we replace this to kind of make the motor more rigid. These have a lot of flex to them, so the motor flexing is losing power. You know, the whole thing is getting power to the ground, whether you're trail riding or racing. So we'll put the new mount in now. Alright, so here's our old mount. In good shape, just a lot of flex to it. This is our new mount. A little bit beefier, a lot better materials. Just goes right in place, no big deal. So just pitch this one. And also the original bolts just go right back in. They have, Sandcraft really did a very well job at making just stock hardware fit right back in. It just fits right in there, just like the OEM. Alright, the biggest thing to remember on this kind of deal is just put it all together loose. Put all your bolts on, a little bit of blue Loctite, and once you get all the bolts in, just leave it loose. And then do the front end, leave it loose, and once it's all together, then go back and tighten everything. Alright, so we've got all the bolts in. They all left it semi-loose. You want it snug so it doesn't fall apart, but you want it also loose so you can move it. I've got my partner here, Eric, or El Nino. El Nino helps with everything around here. So he's going to stick a pry bar under the motor and pry it back up to line up a bolt hole. Right about there. And then you can let it go. It always helps to have a helper. If you can do it on your own, you're going to be playing with it for a while. All right, so now we got the rear mount changed. We got it back in there. We got it loose so it's movable. We'll tackle the front mount. It's always handy to have a helper. He's going to need to put leverage under the motor to kind of loosen the tension off the mounts themselves. Grab our handy impact. You see, he's actually lifting it up. Then you set your bolts aside. Got to get a tool cart. Oh, see, tool cart. Luckily we have these HCR arms with these little pockets. And sometimes you need a bigger damn gun. So we went and got a bigger gun because the little gun ain't big enough. You can just take your mount off, let El Nino set it back down. And it goes to do the same thing to the other side. And then we take the tube actually off the motor and then we'll swap everything out. Alright, so we got all the bolts out. We got the mount out of both sides. Had El Nino help pry it up. So we took all the bolts off of the cross tube. And there's also some zip ties you have to clip because there's wires and such as a zip tie to it. So you just unclip the zip ties. Slide the cross tube out. So basically this is your OEM stock cross tube. These actually are, if you jump a lot, they will crack. And when these crack, other motor mounts crack. And when that cracks, you've got everything jumping around, jumping and doing hoops back there. And it gets pretty nasty. So we're going to swap out our mounts and we'll slide the new one back in. Alright, so we took out the old mount and swapped the plates over onto the new Sandcraft mount. And we'll just slide it back in. Take this and just dump her in the trash or scrap bin. And once we get it in there, we put the bolts in, put it all together loose, and then we'll jump to the next step of actually putting the billet urethane mounts in. Alright, so you take your stock mounts and you're going to use the same bolts. Just like the rear, they have the slots for the bolts. But in the stock mounts, they have these little retainer clips or screw washers. I don't know what you want to call them. Some kind of little retainers. They won't let the bolt out. So you'll have to put it in a vise and just take a hammer and knock it out. You don't need that anymore because it's just going to slide right through and then we'll bolt it right on. Alright, so we take our motor mount, gets a washer on each side, put the bolt through. We have our frame bolts ready to go in. Now El Nino's going to pry up on the motor while we get it all lined back up. Come on, a little bit higher. There you go. Just screw it on there. And let her down. So the motor mount's there. Now it's going to take a little bit of prying and stuff like that to get it all lined up, the holes lined up. And then after that, it's just pretty much tighten everything. So we'll keep working on that. So you think this kit, it'll make any power?
I mean, you probably pick up 2 to 3 ponies on this thing.
Well, you do know. It makes 2 ponies to make a horsepower, so that's 6 ponies for 3 horsepower.
You can carry it on.
All right, well, either way. It will definitely make it more solid and it'll help it get power to the ground better. So we'll just keep working on that. You need to work on your math.
Whatever.
Alright, so we got it all the motor mounts in. We got the new cross tube, new motor mount front, new motor mount rear, billet urethane, a lot more solid power delivery. So we got everything torqued. Now it's just throw the muffler back on and we're done with it for the most part.
What about that bolt?
Where the hell did that bolt come from? That ain't from this. I know it ain't.
I don't know. Might be for this, might be for a lawnmower. Who knows?
Is this where my 12mm socket went?
Might be what your 12mm socket was used for.
Alright, well take that damn bolt. That's not part of the thing. Remember where your bolts come from? Get that muffler on there. Hiding my sockets. So that's it. That's a billet motor mount install from the company Sandcraft RZR on a Polaris RZR 1000 XP. So all pretty basic hand tools. You don't have to have impact guns. You don't have to have a lift. You can do it all on the ground. You can do it with hand tools. We just use what we have. So thank you for your time, and tune in next time.